How you doing, people? Welcome back to another ESO build video. Today is a brand new update, an eagerly awaited one at that, of the Cleric. This is designed to be a heavy armor healer, inspired by the original games like EverQuest and Warhammer, where war priests were a thing and they were as tanky as the tank. Well, this one doesn't disappoint. If you want to see more of this, stay tuned, it's coming right up. So what have we done and how does it work? Well, technically speaking, this is a heavy armor healer with a sword and board on the back and a resto on the front, so it's got the best of both worlds. It's tanky as hell and it can heal your group, much like the traditional sense of MMOs or RPGs, where the healer is very tanky. If you look back in history as far as EverQuest is concerned, and even Warhammer and stuff like that, there are many, many games out there that started with healers being very combat worthy. They were very hardy, they were strong as a tank. Look up War Priest, look up Cleric from EverQuest. Now, we've designed this based on that theme, and we've benefited from stuff that you would not normally expect is a fact. And that is that light armor doesn't necessarily make you a better healer. Light armor gives you recovery bonuses and reductions of cost. It doesn't give you any increase to heals. It gives you crit chance. If your crit chance is low, that chance is useless. If your recovery is high, you're spamming, but you don't take advantage of major mending from the heavy attack your resto provides. Meaning your heals are spammed more often, but they are weaker. I have to cast them less because my heals are stronger. So, while my recovery may be lower, my return from my heavy is way higher with heavy armor and resto passives stacking, and I maintain a healthy uptime on major mending, meaning I cast less and do more. At the same time as being very, very strong. I can support the group and myself. Now, stat sheet. Stats are useless. They show you lots and lots of different things that you will get inevitably if you build the build correctly. These stats at the moment are lower than they would be because we haven't got any buffs or bonuses on. When buffs and bonuses are on, our resistances on the front bar are 26%, and on the back bar they're 29%. So you're very, very chunky. Your crit chance will go up and down depending on buffs and bonuses, as will your weapon and spell damage. So get into combat, you'll see the difference. Out of combat, you won't. If you build the build exactly as designed, you won't suffer with the stats. If you try to manipulate those numbers by using different sets and buffs and bonuses, then of course you'll get very, very different effects and it will be your own fault. So while you may want to customize a build that is already designed and delivered, which you can, you are going to get different results. Don't come at me in the comment section saying it doesn't work because you changed it. 64 points into maximum magicka, and of course, max magic, max health food. Both bonuses here. Your strength of your healing and your survival, your health. If you change this to tri-stat food, you won't actually benefit. You'll lose health, you'll lose strength. You'll gain a stamina bar, a little bit more, but you're not using it that much anyway. And we're obviously an Argonian, as you can see from the tail, which means if we use a potion, which you should be, you get stamina back with that anyway, no matter what the potion is. So your recovery is already sorted. Do not panic. Failing that, you can heavy attack on the back bar or use repentance, which is already there. Spoiler. Ritual Mundustone. Yes, I can hear people screaming, what about the thief? What about this? What about that? Obviously, don't insult my intelligence. That was already tested. It was tested heavily to the point where we decided that this particular setup was stronger, significantly stronger, even without the abundance of crits. Now, this is the important part, the gear. What have we done? We have changed one set. You can keep the previous setup if you prefer, but you will get very different results and you will need to introduce bubbles. I forgot to tell you that part. No bubbles. Recovery convergence. Don't panic. Yes, this is from a trial, but you can get it on normal. So use the group finder, get some people together, whatever you want to do to get it. Just make sure that you get the weapon, because that is quite important, and the jewelry. Generally speaking, this is a light set, and we don't want any light on the body if you can help it. So we're taking advantage of the weapon, which counts as 2 pieces, and the jewelry. Now, the back bar weapons are, of course, sword and board. It helps if they are the same set, but it's not the end of the world if they are not. So what you can do, if you choose to put a taunt on, is you can change these to the master sword and board. Just make sure that when this synergy fires, obviously, you're on the front bar at the time. You will be for the most part, but you won't be able to fire on the back bar if you swap this out. So again, listen very carefully. Recovery conversions on the resto and sword and board and jewelry. But if you choose to, resto, jewelry, and then change this to master. The Master Sword and Board will allow you a resistance bonus and a heal just for taunting. So if you are in a position where you have to take over as the tank, which you might have to do sometimes, you are covered and your survival is up. So that is your choice. It is entirely up to you how you feel about that. This particular set, like I said, you can use a previous setup if you prefer. It's entirely up to you. You will get very different results, but this is banging. You don't need perfected, but you get 4% increase to healing if you do. Here's how it works. Healing done, max magicka, healing done if it's perfected. But all you have to do is overheal. Any overhealing done is calculated up and stacked into a pot. If you reach 100,000 health, you can then take your own synergy. If you take that synergy, your group will get 6,886 stamina and magicka, including you, back. You have a built-in bubble that nobody has to activate but you. Once every 20 seconds is how long it takes for people to take synergies. Yes, they do stack, of course, but every synergy has a 20-second timer. You are giving the group their group bubble once every 20 seconds. This is absolutely insane. You can introduce bubbles if you prefer as well, but you really don't need to. The resource management here is covered. Your group is set. Nobody has to be responsible for pressing their own synergies, because let's face it, people don't. And you can keep on top of it. And it's very, very easy for you to overheal. You can overheal on this build in seconds by yourself, let alone with a group. In fact, if your group is standing in your AoEs right now, it's going to take you the best part of 2 or 3 seconds. Now, the monster set is very, very simple. We've got Bogdan and Night Flame. You do heals to people, you have a 20% chance to drop a totem, and it heals an area of effect. Very, very strong, very, very easy to fire, and quite easy to get hold of as well. This one from normal trials, DSA if you use the back bar for masters, and then Vet Eilden Hollow 2 if you want this. Now, there is another option you can go for. It's not necessarily the same when it comes to healing potential, but it does have a huge mitigation bonus, and that is this one here. Wrong set. It's in my supplies. 1 second. This one here will give you a magical recovery bonus, which is quite nice, but your overhealing of yourself or allies grants them armor for 1.1 seconds. Sounds like a short period of time, but if they're already 100% health and they're standing in your circles of heals, which are many by the way, the rapid rate of fire that your heal over time is already applying will maintain this. So if they get hit while 100% health, they take far less damage. It's not going to help them while they're lower, but it will if they're maxed, and that will happen. The build is meant to be designed to have huge constant heals, so overhealing is really, really easy to apply extra resources. This will actually work very well. So again, the choice is yours. Keep it simple with Bogdan or switch to the other. These are medium on purpose because medium passives give you increase to critical healing if you apply them. It'll be rare, but if you apply them. And also weapon and spell damage, which improves your healing done. Weapon and spell damage is a contributor, much like your max and magical bar, much like your healing done bonuses. That will improve your heals. So these two are deliberately medium. We're not using any light. Lunar Bastion. Yep, it's still on the build. This is from more of Lorcage. You do not need to go on to Vet. A perfected version does not exist. So all you need to do is put this on. It's your heavy armor set on the body. So chest, waist, hands, legs, feet. Healing taken, so your heals are stronger for you. Minor Aegis, so you take less damage. Extra health, so you're chunkier. And when you activate a synergy, including your own, obviously you can apply a synergy from this set here. Don't worry, I'm getting there. You will put a circle of blue magic on the ground, and everyone inside of that will get damage shields. Constantly. Every 2 seconds. They have to be within 8 meters of you. They've got to be in the circle. But damage shields last 4 seconds unless they get taken off, and it refreshes over and over and over until the time runs out. So it can stack technically up to 6 times. So what does that mean? That means not only can you apply these yourself from this particular skill or set, but other people with the same set can double stack them. So if you had 2 of these in the room, no one's dying. It is mental. Not that you have to stack 2 of these. You can use a completely different healer alongside of it, and there's healers on the channel to support that. But it's very, very strong. So, Lunar Bastion on the body, Recovery Convergence on the jewelry and weapons, Bogdan or Ozizan on the helmet and shoulders. Remember, Master on the back if you are a little bit more flexible and a bit more experienced if you prefer. Now, how does this particular one work? Well, the rule that I wasn't going to say straight away, because I wanted to lead up to it, is very important. Procs don't proc procs. Correct? Okay. Well, this is applied based on a condition. The synergy itself is the proc. The 100k health on you or your group overheal fires on condition. It appears with a synergy. It lets it now present itself to you. That's the proc. This fires off of the secondary effect, which is you activating the synergy, which is why this synergy affects this. Let me explain to you, or even demonstrate. I'll show you. Now, we would be in combat, and this would already be all running, but since I've had to build it up, you have to wait a second. I think we have to be in combat for this to actually work. So we're in combat now. Brilliant. Very easy to overheal on yourself, and all you need to do is activate that synergy. Lunar Bastion fires. Constant damage shields. Anyway, too many spoilers there. Let's get those out of the way, and we'll show you what the skills do. And yes, we are using the subclassing system. We are taking advantage of Templar, Warden, and Arcanist. So, technically speaking, this is a Templar in its raw form. You can use the previous version, which means you want to be a Templar at base. But if you do choose to be any other class, i.e. Warden or Arcanist, as long as you lay it out in this particular way, you will be actually fine. But for argument's sake, we're calling this a Templar anyway, because that is where it started out. And it also means in future updates, if we need to take advantage of any other Templar stuff, we can. So, Button Seeds, first of all, is a Warden skill line from the Green Balance. Very simply put, you put a big circle on the ground, and it heals over time. After 6 seconds, it will pop and do a burst heal to everyone inside of it. That pop is quite significant, especially with buffs and bonuses, and especially with your healing done bonuses to your overall setup, and of course, buffs from your group, because that can contribute as well. Now, what you can do is you can reapply this early and take the pop early. So you can apply this for a heal over time, or you can actually land, refire it, land, refire it for burst AoE heals. How you do that is up to you, but it's very, very powerful. So always have that on the ground. Next up, we're going to skip ahead by one because these do actually support each other. We're going to skip ahead to Evolving Rune Mend, which is in the Arcanist Curative Rune Form skill line. Starts off as Rune Mend, morph it to Rune Mend, Evolving Rune Mend even. This basically applies to one target, you or an ally, much like Breath of Life, and it will allow 3 very fast ticks of heals alongside a 6-second heal over time. So a bit bursty up front, and then a heal over time attached to it. Important point. Each crux reduces the cost of this ability. Cruxes can be built with this skill. So if you apply it in combat, 3 times you'll have 3 cruxes, which means this will be cheaper by 9%. Now, where this lines up with the other skill is this single target heal, maintain it obviously. Once every 30 seconds at least you'll keep the cruxes. But this skill consumes the cruxes. The more cruxes you have, the more recovery your group gets for receiving the heal. This is an emergency beam heal for very, very fast-paced high heals as and when it calls for it. This one for single target stuff, this stuff for AoE, this stuff for a combination of the two. So what it does is it applies a beam for 4.5 seconds unless you interrupt it early. And the longer it lasts, the stronger it is, up to 192%. So it's very, very powerful. And all you basically have to do is this. Anyone caught in that line will receive heals every 0.3 seconds. It's incredibly powerful, especially once you've got all your hots and dots and buffs and bonuses running. All the stuff combined makes that very, very powerful. Again, it will consume your cruxes, so you will have to build them back up again. Building cruxes is a very important thing for this particular build to utilize because you end up with more healing done if you do. For all skills, not just Arcanist. Banner. Fortify and Banner. You are designed to protect your group. You are supposed to keep them healed and stop them from dying before that. We've given them mitigation bonuses. Here's how. If they're inside the banner, you need to take advantage of mitigation. This particular bonus here, this script. That will reduce the damage taken by 6% to you and anyone inside of this. Then we're taking advantage of War Mage's Defense, which will grant a 3-second damage over time, 3-second damage shield, which lines up with our Lunar Bastion. So we've got a 3.4, almost 3.5k damage shield on the other set, and we've got almost a 2.2 here. Technically speaking, they feel like small damage shields, but with them constantly ticking over time, all the time, you have a significant amount of damage reduction at your group's disposal, which means more overhealing, which means more resources. We've also got Minor Resolve, which means if they do get hit, they get hit for less because they've got extra resistances too. We don't need Combat Prayer to cover this because it's already there. Technically speaking, they would need to find Minor Berserk somewhere because they're not using combat prayer, but that is up to the group. I'm sure they brought that with them. And if they haven't, well, you can figure that out. But anyway, mitigation, War Mage's defense, resolve. Bear in mind, while this is active, you will be drained of stamina and magical resources, so turn it off between fights, and you must have it on both bars. Easy peasy. Healing Springs, Resto Staff skill line. Morph this to Healing Springs. Starts off as, I believe, Grand Healing. Been a while. This one here. Grand Healing, morph to Healing Springs. Big, big, big heal over time for anyone standing inside of this, and anyone standing inside of this will also receive 15 extra recovery every 1 second that they stand inside of it. If this is maintained indefinitely, it will stack up to 20, and they'll have a rather large recovery bonus, 300 in total, which is very, very impactful, not just for them, but also for you, because you need to maintain your resources too. Maintain that at all times alongside Bud and Seeds on the ground, and use these emergency heals when necessary. Next is the ultimate Enchanted Forest. This is from the Green Balance Warden skill line, which allows us to put an area of effect heal over time on the ground, which is really, really strong, but it also allows us to get extra ultimate if they were low health at the time. So you activate it for a big burst, but at the same time, lots of heal over time on top of the ground-based heals that we already have. And we've got more coming. This can be almost spam depending on the situation. It's super cheap, so make sure you use this as much as you can. Now, back bar. Extended Ritual from the Templar Restore and Light skill line. Extended, so it's got a longer duration. The other one does damage. This lasts 30 seconds and heals every 2 seconds. When you activate it, you remove 5 harmful effects from yourself instantly. But if anyone takes a synergy from this, up to once every 20 seconds, they can heal, which is a rather substantial heal depending on their bonuses at the time, and also cleanses them of all negative effects. So this can be used tactically, or can just be used to maintain their health. Up to you. Keep it on the ground at all times. It's a rather large AoE alongside your Healing Springs, alongside your Bud and Seeds. You can see that there's some significant heal over time going on the ground right now. And that's before you apply this, or have your banner running, or apply this. There's a lot. Now, next up is Channeled Focus. This is for you. This is your resistance buff. Apply this, you will have Major Resolve. Stay inside of it, and you'll get an extra benefit. So, basically, what you need to do is stand in this as much as possible, but if it moves, then fair enough. It's not the end of the world, but you will suffer from the healing received from it. So, if you stand inside of it, you'll get a heal every 1 second, scaling off your maximum health, and it will be increased up to 200%. If you're not standing inside of it, you'll still get a heal, but you won't get the bonus. Regardless of whether you're standing inside of it or not, you will always get that Major Resolve, and you'll also get 424 magical recovery every 1 second. Bear in mind, recovery is calculated every 2, so technically that's 484. Maintain this, don't die. Now, Repentance is very simple. It stays on your bar, gives you a bonus the whole time, and if there are bodies, you consume them for free, you get loads of stamina back, and you heal the group. Up to 6 corpses at a time. The stamina doesn't get given to the group, it only gets given to you. So if you're on your back bar and you're blocking lots, this is actually really beneficial, because you can suck up stamina and keep that bar healthy. Bear in mind, though, in some situations, you might want to be the tank, or you might have to pick up the slack if the tank is dead. Which means you can swap one of these skills for a taunt. Technically speaking, I wouldn't recommend swapping Repentance out because it does actually fill your stamina bar back. But if you're not using the banner, of course, that's obviously an option. If you're not using the banner at all, Bubbles on the front, Taunt on the back. But if you are using the banner, you're going to have to sacrifice one of these skills. I would not recommend sacrificing your Resistance buff because you're going to need it. And I wouldn't recommend necessarily sacrificing Repentance. But if you think you can afford to, up to you. Reconstructive Domain. Curative Rune Forms, 4th ability to unlock. This goes on the ground, much like the rest of the stuff we've got. Ground, Area of Effect, heal over time. Very powerful, long durated effect, and it's relatively cheap considering its duration, but it also applies minor courage, minor fortitude, intellect, and endurance to you and your group. Granted, we've got minor fortitude, intellect, and endurance here already for us, but this is for the group. So if you really didn't need Repentance, you can, of course, put that as a taunt. But this goes on the ground like so. Alongside this. Alongside this. And this. While you maintain heals and heavy attacks. All you have to do once every 20 seconds is reapply these. Well, that actually, not these. This one lasts 30. So 3 healing springs per extended ritual and 1.5 domain. It's really easy to maintain. Your resources are not going to struggle. And ulti on the back bar. This is a flex slot. You can change this to one of 2 different ultimates. Glyphic of the Tides is really, really handy. If you can build up ultimate nice and quickly, you don't need too many heals on the ground, so you don't have to spam forest, then of course you can put this down. It will spawn a glyph, and what you need to do is heal it. Really, really easy to do with this build. You can heal it to maximum health. It's got a health bar in less than about 3 or 4 seconds. If you do so, the remainder of the skill, which will end up being around sort of 12 to 11 seconds time, will give everybody major protection for being inside of it. And this skill heals them every 1 second as well. And, of course, if the glyph is healed, it will give the group 200 weapon and spell damage. So you've got 200 weapon and spell damage there, plus you've got the minor courage here. So you do actually buff your group with a significant increase to weapon and spell damage, so they do more damage. Bear in mind, if you don't want this, you can, of course, switch to shield wall, but you want to morph this to spell wall. That way you've got your block ulti, so you can pick people up nice and quickly. Generally speaking, that is a lesser duration than the other morph of the block ulti. But because you're a Templar and you res very, very fast, it doesn't matter that it's 1 second shorter. You've still got time to close the gap and pick people up if you need to. Bear in mind, that's an emergency ultimate. Now, passives. I'm going to go over these relatively quickly, but obviously these are very important, so I'm going to underline why. This increases your healing done by up to 13% in proportion to the severity of the target's wounds. Lower health, bigger heals. While standing in your own rune focus or cleansing ritual, so these two here, you will actually end up with minor mending, which increases all of your healing done by 8%, so keep them up. Also, your block mitigation is stronger. Also, if you heal an ally under 50% health, so low health, or yourself, you will give ultimate to them or you. And, most importantly, if you are channeling, once every 15 seconds, you will block for free for 2 seconds. So that means this heavy attack or this beam, you're automatically blocking for 2 whole seconds. You can't be interrupted by stuns because they shouldn't affect you. Unless, of course, it's one that goes through block. So you can utilize your beams and get massive mitigation at the same time. This is incredible. It's relatively new in update 46. And it's pretty nuts. 46 or 47? 46. Anyway, this increases your resurrection speed by 20%. You are the fastest class in the game to resurrect people. Technically, you can put this on any class now, but we are a Templar, so we're going to take advantage of it. Also, allies return with more health. And you have a chance to fill a soul gem, which means it didn't cost you anything. Bear in mind, there are ways to speed this up even more. You can change the script on your banner, which means the group will lose a damage shield bonus. And you can introduce a champion point passive. You are not the only one in the room that can resurrect. You should be the last person to resurrect. But if you do, you can do it bloody quick. Tip. If you do choose the shield ulti on the back bar, sword and board ulti, you can res from underneath it. That's important. Green balance. When you heal yourself or an ally under 40% health with the green balance ability, you gain major mending, increasing your healing done by 16%. So not only do we have the heavy attack from the resto to give major mending, we also have it for low health targets that get healed from our Warden skills. So any caught in a heal over time from Bud and Seeds, the pop from Bud and Seeds, or the ultimate will give us major mending. We have it on tap. When you heal an ally with a green balance ability, you gain magicka or stamina, whichever resource pool is lower once a second. So managing our resources is easy, especially when they're low. Increases healing done with green balance abilities specifically by 10% for having them on the bar. And minor toughness to anyone that receives a heal from you. In any capacity, from any of our healing skills, we are now bringing minor toughness to the group. Cleric never could do that before. So he's tankier. When you have a crux, you will have 4% increase healing done per crux. So that is 12% extra healing done for all skills from class and resto staff. When you generate a crux, you restore resources. And you have increased recovery. A lot of it. Also, if you have a rune forms ability slotted, and we do on both bars, your damage shields are stronger. The damage shield from our set and the damage shield from our banner. They are improved by a whopping 10%. And yes, of course, we're taking advantage of Bastion as well. Now, we're going to skip through these nice and quickly. Sword and board, get every single one of these. They are beneficial to your survival and your maintenance of your skills if you're to utilize sword and board stuff, especially if you're blocking as well. If we were to use a taunt, by the way, I'm referring to this one. That is a sword and board taunt. You want to put this on the back bar if you have the space to do so at the time, depending on the fights you're in. If you're not struggling with resources, swap Repentance. If you are struggling with resources, you might want to use the banner or something else in place of it. Now, Resto Staff. These are also very, very important, but I'm going to underline some very useful points here that people misunderstand when it comes to light versus heavy armor healers. You gain Major Mending for 4 seconds after completing a fully charged heavy attack. Major Mending is a 16% increase to the strength of our heals alongside the 8 from the minor that we have all the time. Most people spam skills with high recovery and don't heavy attack, so they don't get this buff. We will have less recovery, so we need to heavy attack, which forces us to gain this. That's our bonus. Bear in mind, if you're closer to the target, within 12 meters of at least, the heavy attack damage you do, so gaining Major Mending, will also heal you or an ally. This will increase your healing by 15% on lower health targets. That also stacks with the Warden lower health bonuses and the Templar. Your fully charged heavy attacks restore more magicka than any other weapon. So, forced to heavy attack because of low recovery, gain bigger heals, gain more resources. So instead of having recovery and spamming, we've got maintenance manually. Restore 600 magicka whenever you block an attack. This can happen every 0.25 seconds. So during your heavy attack channel, once every 15 seconds, you'll have the possibility of getting 600 magicka back up to 8 times during that 2-second block period, depending on how fast those skills are hitting you. Increases healing with Resto Staff spells by 5%. Of course, that does affect healing springs and your heavy attack that comes from it. Now, the rest of it is not necessarily that important to fully underline, apart from one of the heavy ones. We are 2 medium, 5 heavy, get every single one of these. Extra weapon and spell damage, extra chance for higher heals if they do crit, and also recovery options for stamina there. Heavy is survival, health recovery, blah, 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 blah. But this is important. Increases your stamina or magicka heavy attacks restore by 4% per piece. So back bar or front bar, if you heavy attack, you get more back. That stacks with a Resto passive. So if you were to heavy attack with a Resto Staff, you get a 20% bonus here and a 30% bonus with the Resto Staff passives. Plus you also get double resources back if the target is off balance. So maintaining resources is easy with a heavy attack. We are boosting loads and loads of that, but we also get Major Mending for doing so. So make sure you're always heavying. Hots on the ground, heavy attack, beam or spam single target heals if necessary. None of these are relevant. We're not using any of them. Undaunted, of course, we are using 2 types of armor, so we do get 2 bonuses towards our overall stats, so a 4% increase there. No, you don't need to go 5-1-1. It's not more beneficial. It actually gives you less, because then you start sacrificing heavy attack bonuses from your heavy pieces. This will give you a resource boost if you take a synergy. Any synergy you take will give you stuff back. We are taking our own synergies. That counts. We are, of course, an Argonian. Do you have to be? No. Should you be? Yes. You can be any race you like. They all give you different passive bonuses. This build is successful with every single race in the game, but you do get healing done bonuses in Argonian, and you get a health bonus, which is quite nice, and you also get resources back if you drink a potion. So, we've got flat resource increase to health and magic and stamina, and we get all 3 resources back no matter what the potion does. So your recovery is covered. Medicinal use. You're a potion popper. Pop your potions. If it's not used right now, you should be using it. They have recovery bonuses, maintain them. We're going to be using spell pots, if you can help it, because it will give you major sorcery and major prophecy. If that is already with you in your group and someone is supplying it, then of course you can use tripods. However, it's up to you. If you really want to, you can use trash pots, but your heals will be weaker. Now, champion points. Really simple stuff. These ones are yours to use as and when. Missed one there. Whoops. These ones you obviously want to get hold of as soon as possible as well. They all benefit you. They're lovely. They're passives, though. The ones you really want are the ones over here. This tree here opens these. Yes, there's lots of different variants here. There's lots of different choices you could make. But for this particular build, we've gone for boosting as much healing as possible. So, weapon and spell damage towards your healing skills. Yes, they boost it. Increases your healing done with heal over time. Increases your healing done with area of effect. And increases healing done with single target. This boosts everything we're doing. We're incredibly capable healing in any situation. Increases health, increases armor. Then, obviously, these little passives here are nice to get. You will need them to unlock stuff. But what we've done here is we've taken advantage of Bastion, increased damage shield strength, and we've taken advantage of, if I can find it, bracing anchor. We're slower, yes, but we're chunky anyway, so it's fine. Got a movement speed bonus for 2 medium pieces anyway. It doesn't completely offset it, but it does help. And in the meantime, block mitigation is up. We can block a serious amount of damage regardless of the bar we're on. Technically speaking, on the resto staff, this counts as the same passive bonus as tanky weapons, so ice staff or sword and board. Now on the sword and board bar, this stacks, so our block mitigation is huge. Now, in certain situations, you may want to swap that out because you might be the guy that has to res people all the time for some stupid reason. If that's the case, get this instead. Your resing is fast as a Templar. This makes it even quicker. That is an emergency kind of choice there where you realize you're in a group that just cannot possibly stay alive regardless of what you do, and you might need to go above and beyond sometimes. Green stuff doesn't matter. This makes you faster between fights. The rest are all passives. Yes, of course, there's many here that you should get. Read through them in your own time. There's plenty here for potions and food and efficiency and stuff like that, but it's not going to make a difference in combat. All of these are quality of life. You will want this, however. If you're using subclassing skills like we are here, you're going to want to level them up quicker. That supports that. So how do you use the build? Well, it's quite simple, actually. We've got powered all over the place, a very strong heal, so that's done for you. This has got a weapon and spell damage glyph. You are required to light attack or heavy attack at any point in time. Technically speaking, based on the way the build is designed, with it being heavy armor with low recovery, you are going to want a heavy attack more often to take advantage of stacking passives towards recovery from a heavy attack. So, this skill is what you should be using most of the time. Your heavy attack will give you resources, it will heal someone, and it will boost all of your healing. Not to mention, it is a channel, so once every 15 seconds, that will, of course, allow you to block. If you keep watching very carefully, you'll see, there you go, that's a block. There was a shield in front of my face there. Rewind if you didn't see it. Now, the rest is simple. Keep up your resistance buff at all times. Even if you're not standing in it, you need to maintain that. Keep your banner up at all times, unless, of course, you're not in a fight right now, in which case, turn it off. The rest of the time, you need to maintain Domain, Ritual, and of course Healing Springs. 3 heal over time abilities. If you can maintain those all the time, then all you've got to track is your Bud and Seeds. So, heavy attack Bud and Seeds, basically repeatedly, until Healing Springs runs out, then reapply it, and then continue. Now if this runs out, Domain, or Extended Ritual runs out, reapply them. If your Resistance runs out, reapply it. Pretty much it. So keep up these hots on the ground wherever you may be staying. Just bear in mind, Domain and Ritual do actually have to be placed wherever you want them to be. Healing Springs can be cast at range, so you can actually place this ahead of situations. So what you could do is you can actually heal 2 different groups. You can heal the group you're with these bad boys, and you can heal the tank over there with that. And while maintaining this, you can put that on the tank. You've got Healing Springs and Bud and Seeds if necessary, and these burst heals as and when everybody may or may not need them. So you've got a lot of flexibility, a lot of utility. You've got this here all in one spot if you really want to, or you can do 2 people's jobs basically. As long as your group are in these circles though, they will benefit massively in terms of survival. It is very, very easy for them to stay alive in your space. Use your ultimate when you can. If you've got the back bar ulti, obviously make sure you heal that glyph to get the most out of it. That's pretty much it. There's no rotation as such. It's just a case of keeping up heavy attacks and keeping up hots. Emergency heals when you need to, and maintain Bud and Seeds for big bursts. That's pretty much it. It could get far more complicated, but realistically, a healer is an active role. It's very, very dynamic. People will try to force you to believe you need a rotation. You do not. If you have a specific rotation outside of just maintaining your skills, then mechanics that stagger or are slightly random will catch you out. Healing and tanking are very active roles. You need to be aware of what you're doing. Keep an eye on the group window at all times. Keep an eye on your timers at all times. And before we go anywhere, I'm going to teach you how to do that with the timers. Go into your options. Doesn't matter whether you're on PC or PlayStation or Xbox. The options are the same. And you need to go into your combat settings. Now, ignore the flickering here. This is a bug currently on PTS where it doesn't know which controller we're using. But what you need to do is go into ability bar and put them on bar timers on. Back timer on. That way, you will have a number inside the slot where your skill is, and if you swap bars, there'll be a yellow bar going down, like a loading bar in reverse, to tell you that that skill is running out. Example of that is here. Let me start a fight so I can actually get my bars up. Healing Springs. 9 seconds left, 8, 7, and so on and so forth. Now, the trick to this is to pay attention to it on front and back bar. Not just the front, both of them. It will take a little bit of getting used to. As you can see, the numbers start again. If I swap bars, look carefully at the same slot. Aha, it's got a yellow timer counting down. So even if I'm here, I know it's due now. Reapply it. Back bar, same applies. Timer on domain. Now if I swap bars, yes, I've got a yellow bar, but it belongs to that skill. The timer belongs to this one. As you can see, swap bars, you can see the number and the countdown from Healing Springs. Swap bars, you can see the number of this and the countdown from domain. Have your timers on, get used to them. To start with, it's going to feel a little daunting, but don't worry, you'll get it eventually, and it will be really, really smooth when you do. Now, obviously, the most important thing in the Elder Scrolls Online is fashion. So we want to get into here and show you what we're using. So, equipment. We are using Telvanni Helm, which is heavy, and we're using, I think it's called Arcsand. Arcsand? I don't know how to pronounce that. Sneeze and say arc really, really loud. Chest, heavy. Ordinary shoulders, hands, belt, the sneeze set legs, and ordinary feet. These are all in heavy, by the way, every single one of them. So Telvanni, chest and legs of the sneezy set, and ordinary everything else. The weapon is Olvor's Staff Replica, but you can use whatever you want. And of course, the back bar is the sneezy set mace, make us very war priesty. And of course, the Shield of Wayward Guardian. The colors are basically gray and black. So anything that looks like armor, silvery, shiny, whatever effect you can get. There's loads of different dyes in the game. I'm not going to tell you have to get a specific one, but if you can make it look like that, it'll look mega. People, thank you very much indeed for watching. I hugely appreciate support. If you're not subscribing already, hit the button. It's free. And let me know what you think in the comments section below. Do you prefer the older version? Do you like the new version? Have you tried it? Have you not? What do you think? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.